Okay team, this is session 19, Advanced VCN Concepts, Virtual Cloud Networking Concepts. There are some labs associated with it and you will practice that. But scenarios are like you have within one region, you have two different networks and you have a computer connected with them. You want to have one-to-one peering between these two instances. In other words, we have two different networks, two VCNs, and we want to connect them. So we need to create a gateway and we need to create a routing table and we need to connect the two instances from two different networks. That is what is given in the next lab which you have, and this is what the local peering is within a region. Similarly, if you have a cloud at Amazon Web Server AWS and you have instance there, if you have that one instance there and you have one instance in your Oracle Cloud, you want to connect them, that is also possible. You can try that. Last lab is for that purpose, that is using IP secure, so remote peering from different cloud, right? So that is also possible. Fast connect will not be possible for you, but this is the connectivity part is the agenda of this session, and advanced connection options, advanced connectivity. Of course, what comes very important feature which is required is to understand network security groups, where we create groups, security groups, local peering, remote peering, VPN and fast connect. Then this library RISWAN, this is a software, this is a connectivity library which gives you connectivity from your Amazon Web Server or Azure to your own system in your Oracle Cloud infrastructure. Networking scenarios, network metrics, to get the data about the networks, what is the traffic, how congested our network is, how much usage of the network is, so to identify that network traffic and all. So this is all about the networking and advanced networking topics. Network security groups, it's a grouping of virtual network interface cards. Means if you feel that you have multiple network interface cards and you have same set of rules for all of them, so rather than setting up rules for individual, what you can do is you can create multiple network interface cards, put them into a group and then attach security rules to it. So NSG is a grouping of virtual network interface cards in a VCN, and you attach VNIX to compute to a network security group, right? So VNIX of a compute, multiple virtual network interface cards of a compute can be attached to network security group. Ultimately concept is same, we create a security group, we create security rules, right? So rules, as far as rules are concerned, they are same, ingress and egress rules. So broader first 2 points says everything very clearly. One, it is a situation where we have multiple network interface cards. Two, we need to set same set of rules for all network interface cards. And three, all the set of rules put together in the network interface cards in a group, and we apply set of rules on those cards, we call it a network security group. So NSG can have set of firewall rules, ingress and egress, and you can specify the source and the target rules both, including CIDR, service and another NSG. So creating network security group is quite simple. You create network security group, specify what type of rules you are going to create and what service type you want to include. Let us try this, creating a network security group simply. Okay, let's try. Go to the networking, and here you'll find network, virtual cloud networks, dynamic routing gateway, load selection. You see everything. So go to the virtual cloud networks, and here you'll find with the network security group. I missed that. Now this is a bit surprising. Network security group, load balancer, fast connect, on-premise equipment. Go to the instances, then it must be in the instances. These instances, definitely instance pool, network security group, where is that? Dedicated virtual pools instances, this type of thing. So basically when you create a network security group, then let's go to the virtual network interface cards, network pools, advanced configurations. Let me fetch the machine first. Virtual network interface card. This is our network interface card. Within the region. Let me go back to the VCN. I forget the location myself. Oh, within the VCN, right? You go to the VCN first. Okay. Yeah, here it is, network security groups. So here we create the network security group within the VCN. So we create the VCN group, network security. Within that we create the network security group. So we specify, let's say TSP NSG, and then next, and here you specify the rules, which is stateless or stateful, ingress or egress, source type CIDR or service or networks, another NSG, you specify that, and then source type. So you fill the details of which protocol you want to, all the protocols are mentioned. So, and allow or deny, or the description means what specific, and if you want to add multiple rules, you can click here to add more rules to this. So you can keep on adding the rules one by one. This is how you add the rules to the NSG. So this is the screenshot also given here, specifying the rules. Network security group. Yeah, Ratnesh.
Here we are creating a network security group using the CIDR, and the CIDR we know how to create a group using security rules become CIDR. How to create a rule using this service?
Let's go back. Yeah, good question. Let's try. Let's try that also. Rather than creating this, let's create a rule where, rather than without giving the CIDR service name. Now when you select the service, you should know all OCID object storage, or all AID services. So you specify what you want. You want a specific service, a IAD object storage, or you want IAD service in Oracle network. So you specify the service here, whatever services. If you click here, a service or a group of services that is accessible through a service gateway. So therefore what you require is, we require a service gateway for this, right? So the rule allows inbound responses to the connection initiated to the service from the VNIC. So when we create a service gateway, it is applicable for that. If you are creating service gateways, we have not discussed yet the service gateways, right? So we have configured only the networking. If we talk about another NSG, so you need to have another NSG available. We have not created any NSG yet, so therefore we cannot talk about. Yeah. Please, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you are saying if we have independent rules and we have NSGs, right? So which one will be applied, NSG or the individual rule? Quite true, true. I got it. I got the question. We created rules earlier also. Now, if you create a network security group, which rule will be applied? Whichever give the access. We remember the rule of least privilege. Either that or this. Any rule giving the privilege will be allowed. Right? No, no.
Alapnes here. Actually, what will happen in this scenario if you have a security rules as well and NSG also, the both the union of the security rules will be applied.
That is what the right point is. So exactly this is what I was saying. So any rule which is giving the privileges, opening the like suppose one permission on one port number 1521 is not open in the individual rule but open in NSG will be, that means that rule will be given and the port will be open. So whenever we are giving privileges exclusively, union means that is what absolutely you give the right word, Ratnesh. Thank you. So we are giving right through individual or through energy. It does not matter how we are giving. So if you are giving the rights, that will be applied. Simple. Yes. Yeah. Union is good rule. Good name actually. I was trying to explain it, but union is a good name. Thank you. Okay. Edit a network security group. Edit existing virtual network and interface cards to use NSG. Go to the VNIC and click edit and under NSG. So with network security, with security list, you set rules that applies to all computer instances, virtual network interface cards and the VCN subnet. That is the security list associated. Point is, this is what I emphasized right in the beginning. That is what the advantage of security list, and that's what we create security group for that purpose only. So source or target is always a CIDR in this particular case with the security list. With security network security group, you can set the rules that are applied to specific VNICs of all compute instances in your VCN subnet. Here we can have source can be a source or target can be NSG or CIDR or even a service. And that's mind it, service means it is for service gateway, which we are not working with. We don't have a service gateway in our scope. But service gateway refer to specific service on-premise equipment connectivity and the gateway created for that purpose. So service gateway is connectivity to third party. So other than the this Oracle Cloud. So in our scope, what we have learned, if we work with CIDR or NSG, that will be good for us. So that is the source or target from here to here. CIDR is good enough to practice to start with. VCN peering. VCN peering is the process of interconnecting VCNs in the OCI. And this is what we need to practice. This is what we need to do. And you should try both given in the lab assignment, where we talk about the local peering. Understanding of the concept of local peering is we have two virtual network and virtual cloud networks in one region, and we created instances like Sunil, I recollect you have different VCNs and you have multiple instances spread across multiple VCNs, right? I noticed that you have created virtual VCNs in 172 network also, 172 subnet also, and 10.0.1 or 5 that subnet also. So your instances are spread across different networks. How can you connect them from each other? How can you have a connectivity between those two? They are two different under two different subnets. That is called local peering. If you have local VCNs spread across regions, so you have instances in two different regions, and you have subnets. We are not talking about here the public IP address. Because even Sunil raised this issue, I remember that why we are always giving the public IP address. Why can't we connect only using the local IP across region or within region? So this is where the peering comes into picture, and this will help you to achieve what you wanted to. And this is what is required. I also explained at the time that we have scenarios where we create, for example, a cluster which consists of two or more instances. Generally what we do is we create cluster within the same VCN, same network. But if required, we can do peering where my instances are spread across different regions, are spread across different networks. So that is that these are the two important aspects of peering, which is very important, which you will try and which you will practice. So please be ready with two VCNs across regions and within same regions also, so that you can actually implement them. So instance creation and then VCN creation, and then that after that you should be able to implement this part of peering, where you create local peering and remote peering. When it comes to concept, anybody any question in understanding what is local peering, what is remote peering? If no question in 5 seconds, I'll proceed.
Yeah, all good.
Thank you. Thank you. Implications of peering. Security of who can create peering between VCNs. So definitely we need to use the proper privileges. We require the right options, right policies. Therefore, IAM comes into picture, right? So who can create peering? We require the policies, we require the permissions, and for that IAM decide the security. The IAM decide that who can create it. Control traffic over peering. Who will decide that? It is a routing table who will decide. Yes, Ratnesh.
Hi, I'm sorry.
No
I
problem.
got one question in my
Y-
mind.
yes.
For for VCN connectivity between regions, we are using local peering, and
Remote
for
peering
remote peering.
across regions, across region, different regions. So remote peering, local region, same region, local. Yeah.
I have only a small question. I have a doubt actually, not a question. See, if we have a VCN and we have a two subnets, I mean two AD. We have created a machine in two AD, so AD1 and AD2.
hmm
So if we want to connect the AD1 and AD2, then there is no need of any connectivity, right? It should connect in the as it is in the same VCN.
Uh, if VCN is same, subnet is same, then there is no peering. It is direct connectivity. Correct. Let's look at the
VCN is
scenario.
same.
Wait. VCN is same. Understand? VCN is same. Subnet is same. Because VCN is a region service, regional service, not AD service. VCN is regional service. So if you have a VCN in one region, okay, in one region you create one subnet, and both the instances are in the same subnet, then you don't require peering. You don't require peering in that case, right? Question is, yeah, question is when you have different subnets, that is important. So when you have, then local peering will help you.
Okay. I have a doubt that if we want to connect the two AD,
hmm
if you say that two AD in the same VCN, then do we need a
Same,
separate
same, same same VCN plus, use the another word, same VCN plus same subnet. Subnet, subnet. If subnet is different, then problem. VC, yeah, that is the different thing. So control. Thank you. Control traffic over peered VCNs. Routing table. Decide what type of traffic is allowed. Security list or secure NSGs. Performance impact. Scale up compute based on the needs. So these are the implications. Basically decide, generally these are the questions, actually generally the questions asked by participants. Who will decide what type of traffic is allowed? The answer is network security list, sorry, security list and the NSGs. Okay, who will control the traffic over the peered VCNs? It is the routing table. Okay, performance impact, how will we handle that? You need to scale up your compute instance based on the needs. So how can we decide who will be creating the peering? Anybody can create peering or not? Who will decide that? That is the policy decided in the IAM. So these are the implications part. Now let's get into the detail. Local VCN peering. Local VCN peering is between two VCNs. without going through the on-premise network or internet. That means we are not talking about public IP address. We are not talking about fast connect. We are just talking about two virtual cloud networks in the same region. So a VCN can be peered to 10 VCNs locally. So not one. One VCN can be peered with another 10 VCNs locally. So look at the connectivity part, how broader it is. The two VCNs being peered can be within the same tenancy or even across two different tenants. Mind it, two different tenants means Oracle can ask IBM to connect if they are in the same cloud, right? In the within the OCI, if you have a Cognizant trying to connect to let's say IBM, they are different tenants. Can they connect? Answer is yes, as long as they are in the same regions, as long as they have the valid permissions. Simply, in other words, it is a peering, as the right word is a peer, basically means any computer with any other computer. Here, tenancy does not come into picture, right? As long as the region is same, you just need to set some rules, firewall rules, the gateway, right? What is the restriction? Restriction is a VCN cannot use its peered VCN to reach targets outside the peered VCN. That is makes sense actually, other because it is not public IP address. Because once it is peered, it will be used to reach that peered target only, not outside that. For example, VCN1 is peered with VCN2 and VCN2 is also peered with VCN3. That does not mean that VCN1 can reach to VCN3. No, 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 no. A is equal to B is equal to C does not mean here A is equal to C. No, not possible. But in that case, we have a special case called a transit routing, where we use transit routing. Traffic is bypassing that and reaching out to third one. So VCN1, VCN2, VCN3. If VCN1 is connected to VCN2, VCN2 is connected to VCN3, that does not mean VCN1 is able to reach to VCN3. Not possible, because VCN1 is directly peered to VCN2. So this is local peering. Agreement requirement. Yes, Sunil.
Just a small doubt here.
Hmm.
VCN1 and VCN2, they can be peered, agreed, but if they are on the same kind of CIDR blocks, somebody defined 10 dot something, and this VCN2 on another tenant is again defined 10 dot something, can it be peered?
Yeah, why not? Whether same CIDR or the CIDR, that does not make any difference. Which CIDR you are using?
In a particular VCN does not make the difference.
No, 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 no. When you are peering, because you know what, Sunil, you will be connecting. You will be creating a routing table. That is the real actually impact and practical example which you will be working. We have not created any routing rule yet. We have not created any routing table yet. So this
I was just
that this is right approach. This is right question, because this requires that clarification is important for everybody. Some participants may not be able to realize that, but when they face issue, they'll come out. But then any questions is helpful for others. So this part, it really does not matter when we are saying two different VCN. That itself means they can have different CIDR, they can have different network IP address. Correct or not? As in your case, because I know you shared screen, I know you have IP addresses of series 172.16 dot that IP address also, right? You have even 192 series IP addresses. You have 10 series IP addresses, right?
yeah.
That
Question is, I have 10 dot something, and I then go and try to peer it with say Ratnesh, who has also 10 dot something.
uh,
So what happens?
you will be able to peer that.
Yes, that
You
is
will be peer. You will be able to. You if you want to.
that means
It really does not make what IP address you have, right? Agreement required. IAM policies are required to allow peering. Special policy statements are required to implement VCN peering across tenant, because IBM is trying to connect to Cognizant. So then policy statements are required, special policies are required, including providing tenant OCIDs, right? Other requirement, local peering gateway LPG for each VCN. This is what you will be creating in our the lab assignment, because until as you create a gateway you cannot peer them. Connect to the LPGs, route rules and security rules. So from the implementation point of view, you will be creating local peering gateway, you will be connecting to that LPGs, you will be creating routing rules, and you will be creating security list or NSG. This is what you will be working with. So local peering gateway, the administrator of both VCN must create an LPG first. So local peering gateway is the first thing which you will be requiring. Give it a name in the resources. So you create local peering gateways, give a name in the compartment of your own compartment, and create the local peering gateway. Then you attach your VCN to this. Acceptor or requester. One as VCN administrator is requester and the other is acceptor. Why? Because you are talking about two VCNs. You are making two VCNs talk. So one has to be requester, one has to be acceptor. It does not matter which one is acceptor, which one is requester. Two VCN must talk. So requester initiates the peering. The acceptor must have IAM policy that gives the requester to connect the LPGs, and then you accept it. So that is the talk between the two. That is the handshake between the two. And this is what it is. Look at this. Establish connection. Requester initiate the connection. So click on this, the gateway which you created, local peering gateway. On the right hand side in the three vertical dots you see establish peering connection. So when you click on establish peering connections, it will ask you the browse where you want to. If it is within tenancy same region, you can browse VCNs to peer directly if you have the access, like browse below or enter local peering gateway OCID. So that you have the two choices. So you select first one, it's quite simple. Then after that, if it is across tenancy, then you have to provide the OCID of the target VCN LPG. So this is not in our scope. We are not going to work with this. We are going to browse within that because we are in the same tenancy. You will see the details once connection is done. Create route table with route rules appropriately after this. Remote VCN peering, similar way. Remote PCR peering is between two VCN in different regions. That also you can practice. A tenant can peer with 10 VCNs remotely. The two VCNs being peered can be within same tenancy only. Tenant has to be subscribed to two regions. That is obviously, like in our case, we have subscription for three different regions. So we can create VCNs in each of our region, and then we create instances using these VCNs, and then we create the remote VCN peering. Tenant has to be subscribed to the two regions. Create VCNs in each region. Create DRJs in the two regions. Then implement remote peering within the tenancy only. To allow private connectivity between VCNs across regions, no traffic flow through internet, only no public IPs. That is important point. As we discussed, we here because as you recollect everybody that Sunil was insisting why we are always using public IPs, because we were trying connectivity from the remote, from our own virtual machine sitting at our system. But here now this advanced VCN is within that region. What are you working with? We did different across regions. What are you doing? So if you have VCN 1 in region 1, VCN 2 in region 2, so how can we connect? By using remote peering. That also you are going to implement in the lab. Remote VCN peering requirement: two VCNs should not have overlapping CIDR. So this is what that point is you are asking, Sunil. If they are same CIDR, will it work? In remote peering, no, it will not work. Local peering, it may work, but remote peering, it will not work because it will get confused. So any other VCN peer should not have overlapping CIDR with the peered VCN. Like if we have a CIDR of 10.0.0 and this one is 192.168. This will happen, but then VCN2 will not be able to peer with VCN3 because there is a overlapping CIDR here. So CIDR should not be overlapping. In this example diagram, if VCN1 and VCN2 are already paired, good, because they are using different CIDRs. And then if you are pairing VCN2 with VCN3, it is not allowed because it overlapping is there in this example. VCN3 should not overlap with VCN1. That is the point. All right. Setting up remote VCN pairing. Create two VCNs in two regions. Yes, Suresh. No, 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 because you know what? Because you have overlapping CID. Yeah, CIDs, correct, correct. Overlapping is not allowed. There should be in different CIDs. Like VCN1 is, let's say we have VCN1 172.16 dot something, right? 172 series. VCN2 is 192 series. VCN3 is 10 series. Then it is okay. We can have it, right? Because the CIDs are not overlapping. So the conflict will happen otherwise, right? Mhm. Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. Yes. But remote pairing, no. Create two VCNs in the two regions. Create DRGs in the two regions. Attach DRG to the two VCNs. Create RPCs for the two DRGs. And the two VCN admins share information with each other. IAM policies are required, obviously, to establish the connection. Acceptor and requester, same thing. The way we have in local peering, in remote peering also we have acceptor and requester. One VCN administrator is requester, the other VCN administrator is acceptor. The acceptor gives information to the requester, that is region the VCN is in, the RPC OCID, you have the OCID, you can copy it and you can use this. CIDR block for the VCN. Requester gives the information to the acceptor. Region in the VCN is into the name of the IAM group that should be granted permission to create connection, and the CDI CIDR block for the VCN. IP secure connection. So for this part, the lab assignment is here, the VCN peering. So this example lab, see this team. So first sequence is create two VCNs, internet gateway, route table for internet access, and firewall route to open port number 22. So this is the basically local peering with internet access. So this example is using that. So you connect this, you try this lab assignment, you will be able to have that. Okay, second lab, if you go to that, give me a second. Sequence 2, create a compute instance in each of the two VCNs, because then only you will be able to verify the connectivity. Sequence 3 is establish pairing between the two VCNs which you created. And then sequence 4, route table to check the private connectivity between the instances. So this lab will give you complete setup and complete flow of the local peering. If you are able to achieve local and you can talk to each other yourself, if you create two regions, you can try the remote peering. The remote peering example is for your knowledge checking, is a challenge for you. It is, lab assignment is not given for that. Local peering is given. IP secure VPN. IP secure VPN, for this the lab assignment is quite comprehensive, and no guarantee that you will be able to complete that on time, but probably you may not have the rights also, but you can try. There is no harm in trying if you have AWS access. But conceptually we need to understand the configuration of a router device is dependent on vendor device used. Once you have configured, you have to add the device to OCI. Once you have configured the CPE, you can create IP secure VPN from the DRG. So this is VPN IP secure with a dynamic routing gateway. So first thing is, what you need to do in this case is you create a CPE, customer premise equipment. Go to the networking, click on customer premise equipment. So you will be able to create the customer premise equipment. So networking, customer premise equipment, you specify the name and the public IP address of that. So click create CPE and provide the details of the router device in the CPE creation window. If you don't have IP address, if you will not be able to proceed. So therefore it requires some previous details, prerequisites. DRG, dynamic routing gateway, is the OCI endpoint to connect the CPE to the VCN. DRG is like virtual router provided by OCI. You attach the DRG to the VCN and create an IP secure tunnel to the CPE. For this, let me take you to the lab assignment number 20, which is basically on this particular thing. And I was able to successfully verify this 22-page lab assignment. Set up AWS environment, and after that AWS environment I'll take you to the next part where we are working on that OCI. Let me take you to that part. This is AWS part. This is a key connectivity, verifying the connectivity. Up to here it is all about Oracle Cloud, Oracle instance in the Oracle Cloud. And this is VCN. This is our for the DRG and CPE setup in the OCI. So sequence 2, if you try, you will be able to actually create a DRG and CPE setup in the OCI. So page number 11 onward. If you simply want to skip that part just for understanding the concept, if you want to skip the AWS Amazon Web Server concept and you just want to try the VCN part, DRG part, the CPE setup part, you can try the second sequence, which is page number 11 onward. So this is working fine, and I practiced that and I created that TSP instance, dynamic routing gateway. I created it and I specified it and I attached the subnet to it. So you created that will work. So I have verified this. So if you have time, you can try this lab assignment number 20 also, though no guarantee that it will work because so many steps are there. If you miss one step or you commit slight mistake in one step, I will not be able to troubleshoot. That's the big deal. So you have to be extra cautious about this. You attach the DRG to the VCN and create a IP secure tunnel to the customer premise equipment. In the networking, go to dynamic routing gateway. You specify that. You specify the name in the compartment, the name, and that's it. Click the DRG and provide the name of the DRG in the window. Go to the DRG you created, click on VCN. So this is your virtual dynamic routing gateway. In that you go to VCN, virtual network. So you attach your existing VCN to it, the VCN which you created. So attach a virtual cloud network you created on this. So you select the virtual cloud network and then attach it to the DRG. This is the step. Then we need to create a IP secure VPN. Go to the IP secure connection under networking, IPsec. Let's take a look at that also, just to make you aware of the interface. So go to under the networking, we go to the IPsec. Here we have IP secure, IPsec connections. So this is IP secure connections. Here we create the IP secure connections. Create IPsec connections. First let it comes if there is any. So here we create the public IP secure connection. So we specify the connections, name, customer premise equipment details, We have not created yet. That's why it is not able to find anything, right? So first we need to create the customer premise equipment. For that also, take a look here. We can create customer premise equipment also, CPE. So here we can create a customer premise equipment, CPE. You specify that, you specify the public IP address of that, name, public IP address, then CPE vendor information. That is why I told you that you will not be able to proceed all the steps uh, without just verifying the prerequisite for each of them. Go to the IP secure network connection under networking. Click on create IPsec connections. Create the IPsec connections. Give the details of IPsec to be created. So what you require? DRG to be pre-existing, CPE to be pre-created, and target route table to be pre-created. So therefore you start with the DRG, then you start with the CPE, then you create a routing table. With all this information you have, then you create a IPsec VPN. Specify the target route CIDR. Your CPE is behind the NAT public IP. So specify, if that is the case, if your CPE is behind the NAT, then specify the private IP of that device, not the public NAT address. The DRG is a path to the on-premise network. You need to create a route rule in the VCN to point to the DRG as the path on the on to the on-premise network. So this is how you create the IPsec VPN, IP secure VPN. So far, anybody any confusion? Though everything is not practically possible, but conceptually. Thank you so much, Abhishek. DRG Fast Connect, diagrammatic representation of Fast Connect. And this we anyway we have already discussed this part. We have a customer data center, we have customer edge, and Fast Connect. Fast Connect is used to connect to the DRG to the customer data center. So this is what we this diagram came earlier also. Now Fast Connect peering option, that is important. Fast Connect gives you private peering and public peering. Private peering is what is given in my lab assignment number 22. Private peering with your AWS instance to your private instance in the OCI. Yes, Sunil. No, no, no. We have time. We have time. We have time. No problem. Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what? When you are using local peering, public IP does not come into picture, right? When you are using customer data center, then there are two options. All right. If you are using Fast Connect, then Fast Connect also allows private peering and public peering. Only thing is that in the using the Fast Connect, what network you are using, right? And private means private tunnel is created between the two. You are not using the internet gateway, right? When you're talking about the example which I quoted in my case, uh, in that example, lab number 20, AWS connectivity with the instance in OCI. I'm not using public IP address. I created CP. Uh, that is I have not given any public IP. There's one IP, public IP given, but ultimately I'm connecting the private IP address. The good part, private IP addresses are connecting, and there are tools available. There's a tunnel created between the two. So we are not using. There is a direct connectivity between the Amazon Web Server and the OCI.
But sorry, Rajneesh here.
Yes,
To create a CP, we are using a public IP only.
that is correct. So that is why, but internally they are talking on the private IP address, the local IP address.
Yeah, my whole question was like on VCN one we could have like 15 applications deployed which are on
Yes,
this,
yes, 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 yes.
and on customer premise there could be a data center, there could be 15 applications with public IP, and they all will have private IPs as well.
You know, the good thing, Sunil, good scenario here is I have some application created on AWS which actually needs to talk to the OCI instance. But I don't want that application to be publicly available on publicly reachable using public IP address. I don't want that. You got my point?
My case was slightly different. I was
Hmm.
saying that the application is publicly reachable on public network
Yes. Okay.
over the internet.
Okay. Okay.
But what happened when we did the VPN?
Okay. Okay. Right. So there are public, any VPN can have public and private IP both, right? So public IP is anyway always given whenever you want to access it publicly. Private IPs are only for private connectivity, correct?
Yes, yes. I mean, okay. I think now I'm trying. I'm getting the answer by myself only.
Explain that.
Website and the
Yeah.
instructions
Yeah.
say don't go to the internet.
Absolutely.
So something can be done to say that don't go to internet for accessing the VPN on Oracle Cloud.
Yes. That is correct. So fast connect peering options. Private peering to extend on-premise network to the OCI. Access compute instances in VCN using private IP addresses. That is what I was emphasizing on. Accessing compute instances in VCN using private IP address, not the public IP addresses. That is private peering. Public peering, access public services on Oracle Cloud privately without going through the internet. To access public services on the Oracle Cloud and compute instances like load balancer public IPs. Alright. So this is the fast connect peering options, two, private and public both. In the networking, go to fast connect. Provide the details of the type of fast connect and the related details. Clicking on continue gives a screen where you need to provide further details about the fast connect connections. Obviously you need to have details available with you. However, just going through the screens will be sufficient, not necessarily that you will be creating and ending up a successful connection, but understanding and getting used to the interface will be good enough for you, and you can try up to reaching out to where okay, this information I don't have but I can provide. Create root rule. The DRG is a path to the on-premise network. Create a route rule in the VCN route table to point to the DRG as the path to the on-premise network. That is what it is. So you select the right provider. These are the different providers, and then you provide the DRG routing gateway. You specify the value, you specify the provision bandwidth, customer BGP, IP address. If you have this, since we have not created, we don't have, you can just try them. Basic networking scenarios. Now these are good for understanding the overall concept we discussed so far, because scenarios make you understand different situations, what all we can have. Look at this example. Customers tenants on premise to OCI connectivity basic scenarios using only a public subnet. Who they are end users. Look at this example. We have end users here, and the internet and internet gateway, and we are accessing the public subnet. We are accessing the machine through the public subnet. Good. Using private subnet and VPN, administrators and customers. As an administrator, I want to access the private subnet with the VPN. So this is for me, customer network. So customer with customer premise equipment and VPN using the DRG can access the machine using private IP address, not the public IP address. And this is the scenario discussed in lab 20. So private subnet. Customer is accessing using the private IP address, not the public IP address. End user is using the machine using the public IP address through the internet, using the internet gateway. So we can have internet gateway, we can have dynamic routing gateway, depending on who is accessing what. This is one good scenario of networking. It makes sense to everybody? One or two okay will be fine for me. Advanced networking scenarios, customer or tenant on premise to OCI connectivity. This is what we call it transit routing. Transit routing using VPN or fast connect. Access to multiple VCNs in a region. Private access to Oracle service. Transit routing using fast connect. Using what we can do here is multiple VCNs DRGs can be created. Work only with third party provider, co-location. We don't have directly available. Third parties providers are required for this connectivity. Private access to OCI, public IP addresses. Transit routing, what is it? I talked about transit routing, very interesting. To access multiple VCNs through one DRG using VPN or fast connect. So here we have a customer network, dynamic routing gateway, and using DRG we can access this LPG1 and public gateway 2. We can access these two. So this is hub VCN. But what about if we have VCN2 and VCN3? How can we access them? So that is possible if we use the transit routing. So through this, and customer can access VCN2 using VCN1. So VCN1 will be working as a transit routing to VCN2 for the customer. Alright, so this is the example of transit routing. Transit routing single VCN DRG. We can also have this DRG here. We can have a service gateway here in the VCN1, and from this through this VCN1, this VCN1 can act as a transit routing for the end user, for the customer, to access special services available on the other cloud services like Autonomous DB, Management Cloud, email, right? All these services are available on the other network, other cloud services. So through service gateway we can access these things. So this is also transit routing example. So to access Oracle services privately through the DRG, not publicly. Point is that not using the public IP address, through the private IP address through VPN or fast connect. Another example of transit routing, to access multiple VCNs through multiple DRGs, like we have edge services here, and then through the we have the multiple DRGs through multiple CNs within the same region. We can access them, the customer can access them. So this is example of transit routing. So these are multiple scenarios on the transit routing for this networking. Network performance metrics. Yes, Suresh. Edge services means the connectivity, the equipment which gives you. You remember we talked about the equipment, edge service equipment which is placed at the customer end to connect directly to the DRG, like fast connect or the tunnel, whatever method is. Edge services come into the fast connect and then gateway directly, right, and the internet gateway. So the three options were there. So edge refer to all those three services, any kind of service. No, I am referring to network, local network at customer location of customer local network. Okay, my company name is Alliance Softec Private Limited. I have 10 machines, and they are all in private network. I want these machines to interact the mailing solution provided by Oracle Cloud, and that is within Oracle Cloud only. I don't want publicly available these IP address or local this connectivity to be available publicly. So what do I do? This is my example, which is best fit here, right? Network performance. OCI guarantee network performance only for bare metal compute instances. Network throughput is guaranteed for instances within the same availability domain in the same VCN. 99.9% of the billing month. 90% of the stated maximum performance. To test the network performance, create two bare metal instances. Whether you are not able to create even one, forget two, in the same availability domain in the same VCN. Install PERF, IPERF3. It gives you the performance monitoring in the two instances. Enable security rules. TCP 1501 port. One instance act as a server and other act as a client. Start IPRF3 on the server and initiate the test from the client, and client gives the transfer byte and bandwidth used. So this is what you can try for verifying the performance of the network, how they are performing. But when you have the bare metal servers, that is the requirement. I don't know whether you are able to create that or not. Network metrics are available whenever you go to attached VNix. You click on the VNix and you see the metrics available below that, below the details of the VNix. Network health, capacity and performance is available using metrics, alarms and notifications as part of the metrics provided by the metric namespace OCI VCN. Each compute instance provides network metrics as a VNIC level. On the compute instance page, under the resources tab, click on attached VNICs, and each matrix see the network instances. Let's take a look at. Go to that instances. Click on the instance. Select the attached VNIC. Click on that VNIC, and here you will see the performance, the matrix. There are 6 matrix available. Ingress packet dropped by security list, egress packet dropped by security list, packets from the network, packet to the network, then we have bytes from the network, bytes to the network. So these are the 6 matrix available. That's all for this session. Sure you enjoyed it.